Hi, my name is Orlando. I've got a video for you to watch called GIVER Up the River. But before I start that video, I want to tell you a little bit of a story. It begins with this device here. I went away to Mexico this winter, first time in 30 years, away from my wife for 6 months. She didn't want to come because of the travel restrictions and whatnot that were going on. She set me up with Netflix, and she set me up with FaceTime. So I went down there knowing nothing about this device because it's the first device I've ever owned. I don't have a cell phone. I don't know how to operate a computer. I'm way behind the trailing edge of technology. Anyways, I got down there and I edged into email, and I mean edged into email. This was January of 2022. Well, the next thing you know, somebody sent me something about this Freedom Convoy of the Canadian truckers. And the next thing you know, these things called sidebars started popping up on the right-hand side of the video. And I found out that if you press those, you get to watch another video. So one video led into another, led into another, led into another, and I got to tell you, I must have watched, well, yesterday alone I erased 20 videos. Or 25, but I watched all of the news coverage on it, American news coverage, Canadian news coverage from Australia, New Zealand, different parts of the world, and I have a feeling nobody has watched as many videos on this event as I have. What I found though is when I came home to Canada, very few people knew anything about this truck rally. Very little. And I thought, isn't this odd? Because according to what I saw, it was a big event. Huge, as a matter of fact. Perhaps the biggest event that I've experienced as an adult living in Canada. So I was compelled to share a little bit of that story with you. Also, it gave me an opportunity to make a video to my song, Giver Up the River. Now, I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to argue about things. I don't want to pick sides. I just want to share with you what I found, and you can make your own opinions about what I've shown you. Starting out with the convoy itself. Now imagine, this convoy was the largest truck convoy the world has ever seen. There were approximately 4,000 vehicles that lined up 70 kilometers in length, starting in, I believe it was Chilliwack, British Columbia, and headed 4,000 kilometers across one of the biggest countries in the world to the capital city of Ottawa. In the dead of winter, it was 22 degrees below zero. So this caught my attention. It's like, whoa, what are these guys doing? Now, this was a long journey. And there was a lot of people who supported the truckers that couldn't go all the way with them. So what they did was they jumped out for an afternoon and went with the convoy for 2 or 3 hours. And this happened all throughout the country, and there was literally thousands of other vehicles that joined in when they could. All in all, I seen it on Fox, they estimated maybe that there was as many as 50,000 vehicles that participated in supporting this convoy with their vehicles. Now, but who can trust the news nowadays? 50,000 is a lot of trucks. Now, most of the footage that was out there, I've got to make this perfectly clear, was people like you and me with their cell phones. Some had drone cameras. There was some startup news reporters, some would-be journalists. But mainstream media was basically silent. Well, I'm kind of excited to tell you the rest of the story here. The truckers arrived in Ottawa with a panel of informed and educated experts, ready, willing, and able for some open dialogue. They plugged up the streets in Ottawa for about 3 weeks, waiting to be heard. And during that time, hundreds of thousands of Canadians showed up to support them. So what did they want to talk about? The Charter of Rights. Freedom to travel. Freedom of peaceful assembly. Things like dinner with grandma, weddings and funerals. Freedom to make medical choices without losing your job or bankrupting your family. Freedom of opinion and expression without being slandered, punished, or censored. Turns out that Prime Minister Trudeau and the members of the Liberal Party, together with the mainstream media, refused to have any dialogue with the people who organized the rally, or the truckers, or the supporters. The news coverage of this massive event was, for the most part, non-existent. Here was a once-in-a-lifetime bonanza for journalists and news reporters, and they didn't show up for the party. And because of that, most Canadians missed out on the real story. I've seen more politicians and news reporters at a gay pride rally. Trudeau and the media dismissed this huge event as a small fringe minority with unacceptable views. They slandered the truckers and millions of people across the country who supported them. And sadly, they drove a wedge into our unity and divided Canadians. They attempted to paint an ugly picture of what was truly a peaceful and loving event. It was a rally for freedom, a rally to unite all Canadians on that theme. There was no violence, no resistance, and no weapons were found on site. Justin Trudeau and his political allies, together with mainstream media, openly accused these average, everyday working people as being misogynists, bigots, white supremacists, Russian stooges, Nazis, racist, radical, hateful, and violent extremists. This is all documented. Wow, that's a mouthful of foul language coming from the establishment who weren't willing to have any open conversation with the very same people they slandered. Whatever happened to common sense and public debate? Common sense dialogue, that is. All in all, something in here stinks. And it's going to do us a lot of good to flush out the truth. The Freedom Convoy was a much bigger event than most Canadians realized. The eyes of the world were now on us, and their voices spoke out. They talked about Canada as being a shining star for freedom, democracy, and hope for a better future in this world. They spoke of Canadians as being nice people, tolerant of all cultures, friendly, peaceful, non-violent, and having no enemies. As I watched all of this, I came to realize that my home and our country of Canada may very well be the most loved nation on this planet. On a world scene, Canada has been a relatively quiet country. But now, people from all over the world were taking notice as this humble and almost innocent nation mounted a rally for freedom of such magnitude. During the rally, Justin Trudeau shocked the world when he seized millions of dollars that were donated to help the truckers, and then blocked their personal bank accounts and threatened the bank accounts of their supporters as well. If this could happen in Canada, people were wondering, what about the rest of the world? Trudeau's decision to actually dip into people's bank accounts had huge consequences. Record amounts of money were transferred out of Canada, and the international confidence in our financial stability dropped off a cliff. Political leaders from other countries, international news commentators, and business gurus alike condemned Trudeau like no other prime minister in the history of Canada before him. He was basically slammed as a communist dictator. There's a few things that I've personally learned through all of this. Number one, we need to scrutinize what we see and hear on the news. Number 2, we need to pay attention to what they're not reporting. And number 3, and most importantly, we need to look for the good things that are happening out there that are being censored. Now, I want to tell you what I witnessed as I watched all of this convoy coverage. The truckers gave many people hope, and they united those Canadians who sincerely believe that we are at risk of losing our democracy. They inspired others to have the courage and confidence to speak out when they feel that things are wrong. Most of all, they sparked a strong feeling of loving patriotism among Canadians like nothing I've ever seen before as an adult in Canada. They caused millions to continue waving our flag as a sign of national unity and freedom for all. Well, the video you're about to see is a short one. My song's only 3.5 minutes long, so I couldn't cover the whole story. In saying that, I want to encourage all of you to go online and watch a documentary that was produced by Rebel News. The title of that documentary will be shown at the end of my video. This is a must-see for all Canadians. It'll help you understand the heart and love energy that came forward in this rally for freedom. But watch it soon, because at this very moment in time, Justin Trudeau is moving aggressively to shut down freedom of the press in Canada. And if this happens, you may not get another chance to see the whole story. Those brave Canadian truckers may very well go down in history as heroes, not just in Canada, but around the world. They played a very huge role in what many people are calling the Great Awakening. Thank you for taking the time to hear me out, and I hope that you enjoy my song, "Giver Up the River." Adios for now.
Swimming in a river, heading upstream. It's the river of life, where you're chasing a dream. There's a troll on the bridge, waiting downstream. He's the worry, the doubt, and the fear in our dreams. Giver, giver, when you're out in the river, then giver, giver, giver some more. Giver, giver, never say never, so giver till you hit the shore. Current in the river is steady and strong. Your liver is in a quiver all day long. It's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. The troll is hungry and ready, waiting downriver for a midnight snack. So stay away from the eddies. Giver, giver, when you're out in the river, then giver, giver, giver some more. Giver, giver, never say never, so giver till you hit the shore. Giver, giver, when you're out in the river, is giving up your dream is a crime. Give her until there's nothing left to give, then give her one more time. Give her and deliver, never say never.